Some house rules can save a board game from a certain extinction, or they can polish it to the point where your friends will beg you to play it every single board game night. A lot of people are against house rules as it's not their job to fix other people's designs. Hello, Yanis.
Hello, people watching.
Imagine you 3 years ago, okay?
65, okay.
Yeah. What do you think about house rules, Yanis?
Feels like I'm doing somebody else's work for them.
That's exactly what I said.
Ever since you bought the board game and placed it in your shelf, it became your board game. So you better make sure you enjoy playing it. And I'll show you that making them better is actually much easier than you think. This is how it's going to work. I'm gonna show you one of my games, then I'll show you the house rules I use for it, and then I will tell you how you could use those same house rules for your games. Even if you don't own the same games that I do, you still can use these house rules for the games in your collection.
King of Tokyo, power right out of the gate. The whole point of this game is to be the last monster standing, or to be the first one to 20 victory points by throwing dice and smacking your friends around. Simple, right? Well, here's the problem. The most exhilarating part of the game, those crazy superpowers, usually show up late, just as the game is winding down. It's like finally getting to know that you're a wizard, Harry, but realizing it's already bedtime and you should, well, go to bed. So here's a simple house rule. Start the game with superpowers. Give each player a starting ability of equal value, or let them pick between two. Boom! Right out of the gate. You've got a unique feel for your monster, and the excitement kicks in right from turn 1. The same rule might apply to similar games in your collection. Take a glance at your shelves and see if any of your games could use a little power up. Pun intended. Wingspan, draft those birds. Now let's fly over to Wingspan. In Wingspan, you're trying to build the most badass aviary in the history of aviary building. It's like Pokemon but with birds. The only problem, the start of the game can feel as slow as watching a show on Netflix and forgetting to skip the intro. I've seen this 1,000,000 times, but the remote is so far. Oh. Your first few turns are usually just about scraping together resources. Nothing's really happening. So here's the fix for it. Start with one more resource. It won't break the game at all, because all of you get one more resource. And add drafting. Before the game starts, have each player pick up 5 birds. They keep one and pass the rest of them around the table. Keep repeating this process until all 5 cards have been picked. Suddenly, you've got strategy right from the start of the game, avoiding that dreadful bad hand, and trust me, it kicks the pace up a notch. Drafting is a great mechanism that you can implement in almost any board game that gives you some random cards at the beginning of the game. Eldritch Horror, down with the downtime. The beast of a game that is the reason why I'm even making this video. I've been playing this monster for 10 years, and trust me, I've collected enough house rules to feel a Necronomicon. In this game, you as a team will fight Cthulhu and all other monsters that live under your bed by collecting clues and then throwing them at all your problems. The biggest issue is downtime, and no, you cannot throw clues at this problem. I've tried. You sit there twiddling your thumbs while other players take their turns, but here's a simple fix. Simultaneous turns. At the start of every round, plan as a team. Then, everyone takes their actions and encounters at the same time, unless the order is crucial. After that, retell what happened in your own words. Not only it will cut your game time in half, but it adds fresh spin each time. I've read the encounter card about seeing a cat in a dreamlands 100 times, but when my friend describes how he narrowly escaped the furry demon, it feels like a brand new adventure. Speaking of house rules for Eldritch Horror, 3 years ago I wrote a script about all the best house rules and never published it because I thought no one would really care. Would you like to see it? If this video gets 500 likes, we'll make that happen. Kazone, the right time to pick a tile. Next up, Kazone, where you are all building a landscape with roads and cities one tile at a time. And the best planner, who also sometimes is the sneakiest player, will win the game. I enjoyed this tile laying classic as much as the next person, but the official rules of drawing the tile at the beginning of your turn is very much a vibe killer. It's like going to a road trip, but you have to pump gas every 5 minutes. So here's a quick fix. Pick up your tile at the end of your turn. Now you have other players' turns to think about your turn. It's snappy, it's less downtime, and it literally changes nothing about the game. Nemesis, less noisy. The tension, the strategy, the sheer terror, it's all there. Except when it's not. In this game you play characters with secret agendas in an alien-infested spaceship. You want to avoid these creatures for all costs. But that will be difficult as your movement creates noise. A lot of noise. And it's great suspenseful mechanism, except when it gets frustrating. You need just a little bit of hope and that's it. And this house rule can make sure you have it. It goes like this. Each round the first player can remove one noise token from a room with no characters in it. It might not sound epic, but it's the perfect solution to give a bit more control to the players, but not ruin the balance of the game. This small tweak helps to keep the tension without the headache of constant noise building up. And even if you never plan to play Nemesis ever, you still can learn from this tip. Just look at your favorite games, and if there's one small thing that annoys you or other players, remove the mechanism altogether, give some resources to avoid it, play around it, and find the best solution for your game. Deck building. Market mayhem. And speaking of despair, any game with a card market like Star Wars deck building can get clogged up with useless cards faster than your kitchen sink after a family event. To fix this, give each player a token that you can flip once per game to wipe out the whole market and refresh it with new cards. Simple, but it keeps the game from grinding to a halt when all you can see are duds. Similarly, you can use another house rule in games like Dune Imperium, where duplicates can flood the market. Stack them. This keeps the table fresh and full of unique options. In Harry Potter and Battle of Hogwarts, if you don't buy any cards or deal any damage, you can remove all the cards from the market and refill it. Very simple rule that they introduced in the expansions, but should be there right from the get-go in the base game as well. There are multiple ways how you can improve your deck building options. See which one fits best for your taste. Remove them cards. Let's face it, some event cards in games are just buzzkills. Spirit Island, Nemesis, Robinson Crusoe, just to name a few, they all have those cards that make you question why did you even sit down to play the game? Get rid of them! You paid for the game, you better make sure you have fun playing it. It rarely changes anything about the game balance, and you can even dive into some forums to see which cards other players have removed, and see if you would like to do the same. It's silly time! While gathering some info for this video, I stumbled upon just some silly ones, so I thought I'll share those ones as well. In Quacks of Quedlinburg, make everyone cackle like a witch at the start of each round. Sorry to bother you again, Giannis?
No, you're not, but hi.
But this is like life in that question, okay?
Okay.
How would witches giggle? Yeah. Great, do that! It might be awkward, but for some gaming groups it for sure will add to the game. Or in Seven Wonders Duel, the only way to win a military victory is by yelling, "This is Sparta!" And only then you can push the token to the last spot on the board. Is it ridiculous? Yes. Does it make the game indefinitely better? Also yes. Section number 9. Who is the loser now? Finally, here's one rule to govern your entire game night. Whoever loses the last game gets to pick the next one. It adds an extra layer of fun, and suddenly, even losing feels like a strategic move. Sure, I lost Wingspan, but now we're playing Cosmic Encounters, you fools! And that's it for today. Hopefully these house rules will give you some inspiration to shake things up and breathe new life into your board game collection. What house rules do you use? And remember, if this video gets 500 likes, I'll dust off the Elvish Horror house rule video and make it happen. So smash the like button if you want to see it, and don't forget to subscribe for more board game tips and tricks and other shenanigans. Until next time, happy gaming!